let's start off with the FA Youth Cup, which has already been an amazing story, but it's gone to a whole new level. As soon as you start saying you're making history, you're doing something the club have never done before. That is special.
Oh, massively, yeah. What a brilliant night it was last night. I thought, yeah, when you take a step back and you realise, Cat 3 Academy making it through to the quarterfinals, that's pretty big news for us. I've only been a funded academy since we've been back in the league, so it's incredible progress. Years in the making for lots of those players, but fundamentally the first credit goes to the players on the pitch and the staff and Jimmy and Dom and everyone that's really helped implement that. But I think the good thing is it's been really well deserved in the games that they've played, and what an occasion we've got to look forward to. So I thought it was brilliant last night. I thought the players played really, really well, deserved the result. There's a great buzz in the stadium and a lot of first team players and staff there to see it as well. Really unifying night, I think, for everybody in the club. It's a real proud moment for supporters as well, and then there's a real excitement about going to the next round and playing against another giant of academy football, but also obviously the English pyramid. So what a great night for everybody, and one that we can really look forward to the next round. But huge congratulations to players and staff because of the level that they played at, and the fact that the temperament was so good, and they know what the prize was, but handled that with no worries whatsoever, and deservedly got the result. So yeah, a brilliant night, and I think we'll all be really looking forward to the next round.
I know it's part of the nature of the competition that the team changes year on year as players get older, but particularly impressive to have got to the fifth round last time, get edged out on penalties, and then to do the work all over again and go one better. Yeah,
and probably last year deservedly should have gone through in that round. With a better team on the night, had the best chances and missed out on that opportunity. But I think what it shows in youth development is, of course, the team does change every year, but a number of them boys played in it last year. It was a very young team last year, and a number of them actually played in it as under 16s. And forget about that in the development cycle of teams. We went out to AFC Fylde in one of the seasons where a lot of younger players were playing, and part of the development plan really is that you have to go through some tough times to have the really good ones, and most people only see the real highlight at the end, which is sort of last night. But that development plan's been in place a long time. I think Dom, Jimmy, and those before as well, Pelly and many others, have done incredible work, and it's great when you get to see that that gets shone a light on, and lots of people get to see the level of performances. And I think the players have adapted and grown even within the competition this year. And benefited massively from it. A number of them players are playing senior football out on loan. That's huge in their development, and you put the team back together for these nights, and you hope that it can look like that. And it wasn't so long ago that we were having to qualify 3 or 4 rounds to get to round one, and the academy's come a heck of a long way under Tom first and then Dom since, and I think there's so much good work that goes on. And it never really gets seen. Academy work doesn't get seen, and you're outside the spotlight. And you just hope that when the spotlight is on it, that you get the respect that it deserves. And there's some brilliant work going on there, and it sort of sends a few shockwaves through the academy system, I think, and makes us a really attractive club for young players to come and join. So yeah, brilliant night, and we should really celebrate the fact that we've reached a level that we never have. But not only that, the quality of the performance levels was great. We know we've got a really good group this year, and it won't always look like that, but real credit to them, and I'm sure they'll be really excited by the next one.
Yeah, just an added bit about what's been a good couple of weeks heading into Barnsley this weekend. Always just nice to have that added confidence of 2 good performances with the senior team. Just makes life a bit easier when you've got that momentum starting to build.
Yeah, I mean, in the big picture of the football club, our momentum hasn't really stopped. We're on a serious upward trajectory, and there's so much good stuff going on. We've come a hell of a long way in a short period of time as a football club. And then we've had periods where the team has done that as well, and obviously we've struggled for that this year. That's slowed a little bit, but we're starting to feel that almost confidence and belief come back into the team, which is good because we need a real momentum spell now. We think that can be kicked on by certainly the last couple of games, and we're looking forward to a busy spell now, 5 games in a fortnight, which will really test us. So that's one to look forward to. But what I think last night is always the reminder of, is that the whole club's there together, really united to push, and you love the momentum can come from different sources, and you watch the young players play and you see that level, and we've always had a bit of a mantra here that we can compete with everyone and beat anyone, regardless of the size of the club, the resources that we've got, whether that's in the academy, in the first team, whichever area of the club. That's kind of been our objective, is to always achieve more than people think we can, and that's no different to us. And hopefully what the last few weeks has reminded us that we can do that. Last week reminds us we can be really competitive against the top team, and we need to take that forwards into the next spell of games, because if we do that, we back ourselves to get results.
With Barnsley, clearly a good side up towards the top of the table, but good in quite a different way from Ipswich, different sort of challenge.
Yeah, definitely. They're a brilliantly organised team defensively. The defensive record's exceptional. Was at Oxford last week to watch them there in the league game, where they had a really good result, and they're a very strong and aggressive team. They've got direct threats in their team and deliver good crosses to the box, but they've also got some excellent footballers through the midfield third of the pitch as well. So I think they're well stocked. They've got a little bit of everything in their team. They're certainly different in style to Ipswich, but they're in a position they deserve to be. I would imagine they will finish in those playoff positions and be a real threat and a real strong side in that situation. Michael Duff's obviously gone in and done a good job. We played them earlier in the season and saw that. And I think that we have an idea and understanding of what his teams look like, having played against his Cheltenham team for a number of years. And there's some similarities there. But we know we'll have to be good in our possession situations, because they make it very, very hard for you to create chances and press the ball really well. And they force your defensive line to defend a lot of aerial balls, direct passes, crossing situations, which will be a real threat for us as well. So I think it's a good, exciting one to go into. I think a few weeks ago it might be one that we're really frightened of. Maybe an overuse of that word, probably. Maybe just a little bit more anxious about. But I think the last few weeks has given us a renewed belief and bounce that we want to go and have a go at teams. We want to go and see what we can do and see what we can deliver and see if it's a game we can take points off of. But certainly in the next fortnight, we're seeing a group of games that we need to get a good points return from, and we're all on board to try and do that.
Yeah, you talk about frightened or anxious, or however you want to describe it. It becomes harder when you're out of form. Football, though, being quite a straightforward game. We've been saying it all the way along that basically the squad had been stretched too far by the injuries. It was too much for the remaining players when you haven't really got enough of them. So having players coming back from injury and then having made the signings you've made that you're really happy with, it's kind of obvious, but it's clearly made a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing we have actually done very well is in the majority of games, regardless of what's happened in the game before, we've started games well, we've been in games early on, we've found a really good level, and almost that anxiety of performance hasn't been pre-game. We've gone into games with a real focused mindset. Sometimes I think what can happen is in-game, if you're in a bad run and things go against you, that's where the game can unravel. That's probably what's happened more so than the mindset going into the game. But I look at last week and I just think, like, even when we conceded and fell behind against a top team that are chasing and have got the momentum, we were never hugely stressed or massively worried about that situation. We looked like a calm team on the pitch. I really enjoyed seeing that, and I liked the temperament that we played with. So I think that will be important for us, because I back us to always start games in a mindset that we can go and be competitive and deliver good performances. But one of the things we've got to do is manage games and handle it when it doesn't go well. And we've certainly shown that well in the last couple of weeks. And the development of the team, obviously with a few different options, the players that are now desperate to get back in the team or in the team and are outside the squad, gives us really good numbers and good depth. And I think it's given us the returning players, the new players, it's just given everybody a little new lease of life and a new bounce and energy, and that's what we want to see now, because the impact's been good so far, but we need to turn it into a winning team. That's obvious.
With the injuries, Lloyd Jones having picked up a suspected groin last Saturday, how's he looking? Yeah,
he trained today, so we're quite confident that we'll, other than the longer term injuries, we'll have everybody to pick from. So that's excellent. So we're hoping to have more players available than we did last week. So we'll see how the next couple of days goes. But we're in half decent shape going into the weekend, and then hopefully that serves us well over the next couple of weeks. It's been a good week for some of us to get into training. So Dunks and Liam and Seds are picking up their work with the physios and really working with the football now and will integrate into group training sessions next week. George Thomas has been in modified training with the team this week, so it's been a good week for him, and hopefully that continues next week, and perhaps next weekend is one where we may be able to start seeing him contribute to squad. So we'll just see how that goes and keep an eye on it. But everyone else is going well, so yeah, we're pleased with how things look, and hopefully we can go up there and give a really good account of ourselves.
Yeah, and just to finish, another bigger picture question. The training ground, planning application passed earlier this week. Massive really, isn't it, to be able to lift the facilities at the training ground to where they need to be? Absolutely
huge, yeah. I mean, I think firstly we know we want to improve the environment that we provide the players, the staff, that this builds something that is here for years to come. That's the aim, and it's a huge box ticked in terms of gaining planning permission, but it is one of many boxes that needs ticking. So at the moment it doesn't mean that we've got an all singing, all dancing training ground ready to go, but it's certainly one big box ticked, and as the next few weeks plays out and other things fall into place, I'm sure as and when that happens, the club will make the announcements, and the owners will announce where we are with everything as time unravels. But that's certainly a big moment in the process for us, and one that's been a lot of work going into. But now we just have to see what else can go on over the next few weeks, and if we can secure everything we need to make it happen.
Cool, that's great for me.
Hi Mark, just on the academy, how good a place do you think the academy's in at the minute, and where do you think it goes from here?
It's in an excellent place, but it has been for a number of times. I think that no one ever sees the work that goes on. No one ever sees the qualities that go on. You know, a lot of players have moved on from ours to higher level clubs, and that isn't sexy for supporters to hear, but economically it's excellent. And there's two ways of productivity. It's players in our first team, and it's players' assets that go on and develop elsewhere, and helps fund the whole process. I think there's been some brilliant work going on. I think that the holistic development and everything as part of it is very good. We've got good coaches, we've got lots of good players, and that will only improve over time. We know the stumbling blocks for us are facility based. We know that we're not a million miles away from being able to tick lots of boxes of becoming a higher category academy, but that will take time to get there. And in the end, whatever we are and whatever we've got, our job is to make the best of it. And I think that everybody in the academy does that really well. I think we've got players on the pitch last night that are playing senior football at a young age, which really helps them. What we have to make sure is that the next step for this group of players, the ones that obviously retain and stay as young professionals moving forwards beyond this season, we get the right development plan in place for them, because it is a big jump from under 18 football to first team football, as we know, and we have to make sure that development plan continues. But there's a lot of work going on in that area, and I think we've done it better this year and in the last couple of years than we have done for a while. So we're quite excited by that progress, and we think we've got some players that can continue developing and into players that we see more of in the first team squad in the future. But certainly in the case of Dom Knighton and everybody else there, I think there's some excellent work going on, and that is recognised by all the key stakeholders in terms of the EFL and the audit bodies and everybody else. It's also recognised internally amongst players and parents and staff that we're onto a good thing, and the club values all the work that's going on. And I think the way in which we'll see that is more and more players integrating into the first team over the years ahead. So that's an exciting challenge for all of us, but certainly we're really pleased with where things are.
But at the same time, you still think those players are way away from the first team?
Well, there's a huge difference between the two. I think it's really obvious to see that they're very talented players, but there is a big jump from under 18 football to senior football in so many areas. What a lot of those players are doing is experiencing senior football at a young age, which is great. So we've got to make sure that development plan is right. You couldn't put 6 of those players in the team at Barnsley and win at the weekend. So that it's simple as that. It doesn't work like that. So we have to keep developing the game plan and the work and transition to first team players, and fundamentally those players need to continue playing games regularly. In one side of the coin, it's really easy to develop young players and put them in the first team, but if your first team's not winning, it doesn't matter. It's not a development team, the first team. Every other level is, and we have to make sure we've got that development plan right, so that when they are ready to transition in the first team, they can help a team win. That's the whole reason that we're here. So as long as we keep working as we are, I think there's some real encouraging signs in some of the players there that they can come into a team that does that in the future. But At the minute, they're on good track, and for them, you have those real highlight nights, and everybody talks about you. But the reason they've done well and they're doing well is because they get their head down and work hard. And as long as they continue doing that, there's no reason why that shouldn't continue.
In terms of the first team, how important is it for the club to retain its League One status this season, given the project they're trying to build it?
I think it's important, full stop. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the league position or the league that we're in will deter from our long-term objectives and what we're trying to achieve. But it's obvious, like, you're playing a competition to win games, so we want to finish as high up this league table as we can and get as close to last season's finish as possible. So in terms of the longer-term stuff, it's probably not for me to talk about. My job is the 5 games we've got in the next 14, 15 days, that is the focus, always working on the longer term picture and trying to facilitate and work towards and help support that longer term objective. But for us, it's about winning the next game and trying to put ourselves in the strongest position we can. And if we can get some back-to-back results somewhere, things will look very different very quickly.
With Lewis Simper and James Holdham, I won't constantly ask the question, but are those loan moves ones that you're actively trying to do at the minute, or is it something we'll see a little bit down the line? No,
we are actively trying to do it. I mean, it's tough for goalkeepers, really, because obviously someone needs a goalkeeper in order to make that happen, and usually that's a position that's set. So we've got to try and find the right one and make sure the right option comes up. Now that we're a week after the window closing, the National League starts to be able to focus itself around adding players. So there's 1 or 2 options that have been up, but nothing firm yet. So as and when something comes up, we'll listen to it, and we would like both of those players to be out playing. So the sooner we can do that, the better.
Great, thanks, Mark.
Just one from me, Mark. I wanted to get a word on Liam Bennett. You're obviously pleased with the work we did in January, and bringing him back was part of that. He's gone and won the Player of the Month award for January. Just how pleased have you been with the way he's sort of integrated back into the squad and side?
Yeah, very pleased. Not surprised, really. He's just continued on from where he's been this season. The shape change for us has helped because he's played as a wing back most of the year as well. So that was important. We wanted to. We knew going into this window we were going to look at a shape change, and it was difficult early on because we weren't able to get the players in as early as we wanted to facilitate that. But in signing the players we have, a lot of them have had experience playing in this way, so that really helps us. And I think he stepped on really well. And as you say, we've had 5 new players signed, 3 have contributed to the team so far. You can count Liam in that, really, because some of our boys don't even know who he was when he came back to us late December. So almost 6 new players, and then with some of the returning players it feels like 7 or 8 really. So it's been a lot of change in a short period of time. He's doing really well. He's everything that you see and have seen. I don't think anyone's surprised by, because whenever he has played for us over the last 18 months, that's what he's done and that's how he's looked, and that's what's happened when he's gone out to Walsall. So for him, he needs to keep finding that level and keep his place in the team, and hopefully it turns out to be a really successful season for him. But most importantly, as well as that, his individual development going well, we want him to create and contribute towards wins for the team. So that's his job, and along with everybody else. But we're certainly pleased with the impact and the performances of him in the last month, particularly last week. I thought he was excellent against Ipswich last week, and that's the level that we want him to try and find now consistently.